Hope you guys are ready for more Japanese metal, destruction, and war, because it's time for another edition of ZF500's Encyclopedia, Dynasty Warriors edition. Today, we're going to go over Dynasty Warriors 4, 4 Xtreme Legends, and 4 Empires. Dynasty Warriors 3 was a huge success and left many fans craving for more, so Koei obliged and brought us Dynasty Warriors 4 in March of 2003. Upon release, it was received fairly well, though not as well as Dynasty Warriors 3. As with Dynasty Warriors 2 to Dynasty Warriors 3, improvements have been made, though some problems from the past still linger, such as the fog of war and frame rate issue. Now let's get down to business. First, let's start off with the modes. Muso mode is back and is still your story mode, though now you can play as Lu Bu or the other factions in story mode. Free mode allows you to play with any character or in any stage, and challenge mode is back with the online scoring system. Challenge mode is pretty standard: endurance, see how many enemies you can kill, time attack, and a demolition. The online scoring system really was what made it fun to do, and you can keep track with friends. New to Dynasty Warriors 4 is the edit mode. This was something that many fans requested, as it lets you make your own warrior. Now, this isn't as exciting as it sounds, because the customization of the character features was very limited, so it was rather disappointing to most fans. The bodyguard edit feature was kept in from Dynasty Warriors 3 Xtreme Legends, but it's not as customizable. Versus mode was also retained from Dynasty Warriors 3. Versus mode really wasn't that much different than what it was in 3. Most fans really wanted two factions playing against each other, not just, oh, let's meet on a bridge and kick each other off or fight in an arena. It was really disappointing, but it was still fun to play. Next up is combat. You're still limited up to 6 presses of square and triangle, but the properties of the attacks have been altered. Triangle is no longer a universal guard crush, as it is now different for every character. I'm going to be using Zhang Fei to demonstrate some of these changes. Triangle is now a grab move. It goes through all guards, but it's hard to hit and your allies can knock them out of it. Plus, using it against certain enemies like generals, they'll just jump before you grab them. Really annoying. Square triangle is now an AoE crowd clear stun. But as you can see, you can be knocked out of it. 3 squares plus triangle is now a grab move. But it can be also hard to hit, as your character tends to lock towards the last person they hit, even when they're dead, and you can't change directions. It can be very frustrating. 4 squares plus triangle is another air attack. Knock them in the air, knock them back down. 5 squares plus triangle is a ground pound. And it's usually an AoE, it's some sort of crowd clear, and it does a lot of damage. You can now do a parry by holding block and triangle. Now, I'll demonstrate it. It's kind of hard to hit. As you can see, I'm trying to do it against Zhang He, but you have to have precise timing. Also, R3 is now how you can unguard certain enemies. If they're blocking or not, you can just hit R3, and they do this announce attack. That's supposed to take over for your triangle, but it's really slow and annoying, as you can get knocked out of it. There's even an item that allows you to not be, it allows you not to be stunned while doing your announce attack. But I don't know why you would want to put that on a slot, as it wastes one of your more precious items. Your character is still advanced in the same manner as before. Kill an officer for attack and defense up, while HP and Musou ups are reserved for special jars hidden throughout the stages. You still get points at the end of every battle that boost your character and your bodyguards. Though these are separate now, as you can have 4 different units that level up differently. The more points your bodyguards get, the more units become available and the stronger they become. The more points your general gets, the more items they can hold, and it determines how many costumes your character can use. The weapon system has been changed to what I believe is the best. In Dynasty Warriors 3, you kill generals to get a weapon drop. This can be kind of annoying, because you never knew if you were going to get a level 1, 2, or 3. In Dynasty Warriors 4, you get experience for your weapons for killing generals or performing long combos. It made it less of a hassle to get new weapons, as you leveled up through your weapons as well as your stats, making your characters a lot more rounded out. Getting the level 4 in this game, or the level 10, still requires you to meet certain conditions on certain stage until it will evolve. You must also have the weapon to level 9 before attempting to get to level 10. Items are back from Dynasty Warriors 3, pretty much doing the same thing. Boosting stats, starting off with certain horses, powering up your bodyguards, etc., etc. But new to Dynasty Warriors 4 is the elemental orbs. Unlike in Dynasty Warriors 3, your weapons do not get elemental affinities. You now get to choose what element you want, which is pretty nice. Now, fire remains pretty much the same. When you set an enemy on fire and they're in the air, they will lose HP constantly. Lightning now causes an AoE, or area of effect, which stuns enemies. Vorpal, which is similar to the death element from 3, returns, which still causes a chance of instant death and causes generals to lose a percentage of HP upon it. Ice freezes enemies for a short amount of time, while the blast element makes your attacks unblockable. Really? This isn't all that useful, unless on harder difficulties. Even then, Vorpal is a much better choice. Lastly, there is poison. Poison deals damage over time, as well as decreases the enemy's defense. Though the DOT, or damage over time, isn't really good, and the decrease on armor isn't substantial enough for it to be used, so it is considered the worst of all the elements to put on your weapons. Now let's go over some of the minor features in this game that never really appear again. In this game is a hidden relationship stat. Anytime an officer is in need of assistance and you help them, it increases their affinity toward you. The higher the affinity, the more likely they will come to your aid, and the less likely they are to duel you. If a character's affinity is below a certain amount, obtained by killing them or letting them die, they will challenge you to a duel when they run into you. Keep in mind, these affinities are kept through the entire game, so you can't reset them. Dueling is a new feature in this game that was a pretty cool idea in theory, but it was just pulled off terribly. The duels gave you a certain amount of time to defeat the enemy or end in a draw. The problem with these duels was that the enemies got a huge increase in stats that just seemed unfair. Most of the time, I would just decline their request and take the morale loss, as it would usually just kill me. One final note about Dynasty Warriors 4 before moving on to Dynasty Warriors 4 Xtreme Legends is that there is no option for the Japanese voice acting, so you're pretty much stuck with the English VA, but they're not nearly as bad as they were in 3. Also, the music is switched up a bit in Dynasty Warriors 4. It's still got that metal feel to it, but it has a much more Chinese influence. Alright, now it's time to move on to Dynasty Warriors 4 Xtreme Legends. Dynasty Warriors 4 Xtreme Legends came out in November of 2003. It follows the same concept as Dynasty Warriors 3 Xtreme Legends. They added new weapons, items, modes, and difficulties. One thing I didn't mention about Dynasty Warriors 3 Xtreme Legends was that you can mix Dynasty Warriors 3 with 3XL using the Load Original feature. It requires you to have both Dynasty Warriors 3 and 3XL, and it will ask you to swap discs in order to load both games. You have to do this every time you reset the system. But once it's done, you can play through the entire game of 3, the Musou mode, free mode, and all that stuff. If you don't have 3 and you're just playing Xtreme Legends, you won't have access to all the original modes. Let's go over some of the modes. Challenge mode has been updated with one more challenge, the Arena, and still has the online ranking system. Versus mode remains pretty much untouched, unfortunately, so you still can't have two forces fighting each other. New to Dynasty Warriors 4 Xtreme Legends is the Extreme mode. Extreme mode lets you choose your warrior of choice, then sets you on a mini conquest mode. Your character starts off with base stats, no items, level 1 weapons, and no bodyguards are allowed. You go through random missions, random goals, with random allies. See where I'm going with this? Everything's completely random. You can't obtain certain things in this mode, such as level 10 or level 11 weapons, so I don't really care for this mode. Once you die, it's game over. You lose all your progress and have to start over again. Yeah, what a pain in the ass. Next is the Legend mode. Legend mode gives every character in the game their own unique set of stages not shown in Musou mode. These new stages allowed you to obtain level 11 weapons up to level 10. Now, let me ramble here for a second about weapons in Dynasty Warriors 4. To obtain some of the level 10 weapons required such ridiculous goals that they seemed impossible. Even when you managed to do the objectives right, which you got from online sources, which were translated from Japanese websites, you still wouldn't receive the weapon. This caused a lot of frustration among gamers, so Koei made it possible to obtain level 10 weapons during the Legend mode, which had much simpler goals. The level 11 weapons, they took a little bit more effort to get than level 10s, but still nowhere near as hard as Dynasty Warriors 4 made. Along with the level 11 weapons, there are new items to be obtained. They range from really useful, i.e. elemental damage increase, more damage but less defense, to horribly useless. Like, don't get stunned while performing announce attacks, like I'm ever going to use that thing. The arena was tweaked a bit, and the battles are no longer infuriatingly hard. Let's see here, I'm going to show off the difference between 4 in the upper left and 4 Xtreme Legends. The amount of damage you do in 4 to enemies in this arena is just absurd, and look how much more damage he does to me in one hit. But you can see I've hit Lu Bu with one combo and over half his health is gone. I hit him like 3 times there. Look, I can't even phase him in 4. It was just ridiculous. And a lot of times I would just end up running away. Just run far, far away. But if you can manage to kill Lu Bu or any of the generals in the arena, they give you, I think it's double the amount of experience you would normally get from that general. The AI did see an increase in intelligence, and again there are 2 more difficulties added, beginner and expert. Believe it or not, that's about it for Dynasty Warriors 4 Xtreme Legends. In my opinion, this add-on wasn't as expansive as 3 Xtreme Legends, and the lackluster Extreme mode really didn't help in it. But now, it's time to move on to something a bit different. Let's talk about Dynasty Warriors 4 Empires. 4 Empires was released in October of 2004 and was received with mixed reviews. I'm not going to be spending a whole lot of time on this one because I'm not really an expert at it. This one is a standalone game, so you won't be able to transfer anything over except your created warriors. Having a save file of Xtreme Legends does give you some bonuses like unlock pictures and gallery. It's still a Dynasty Warriors game at its core, but it uses a touch of strategy. Dynasty Warriors 4 Empires has a story mode and a versus mode. Now, versus mode was improved in this one. It actually lets you have a skirmish against your friends, but not on the scale you would like. Edit mode is in, and it has even more customization than Dynasty Warriors 4 or Xtreme Legends. But that being said, it's still very lackluster, as you're limited to 3 types of armors. Though, you can now use any character's moveset, unlike in 4 and 4 Xtreme Legends, which is very limited. The bulk of the game is in the story mode. In the beginning, you can choose whether you want to do a historical run or a fictional run. Historical mode will play out in a, well, historical way, but it's still pretty wild as you'll recruit some characters that never really were on that side. If you do a fictional run, it basically shuffles up all the officers, so you get a whole bunch of random stuff. Now, your basic goal of Empires is to rule over China. This is obtained by partaking in battles and taking over territories. Before every battle, you must choose what strategy you want, which is brought to you by your allies. These range from item production, healing your allies, taking money from peasants, and much more. Then you get to choose where you would like to invade. These battles are pretty straightforward. Beat the general and take over their land, though you do have to take over these little outposts along the way to the general's base, otherwise you will never beat the stage. They'll just keep respawning. Now, the more land you have, the more money you will obtain between turns. The more money you have, more options become available, and more items and weapons and such can be made, as well as you're able to hire on more generals. You'll also gain allies through capturing territories or beating them in battle. You're not just limited to officers though, you can also obtain lieutenants through the same means. You can send somebody out to go get them, or you beat them in battle and they'll like you so much that they want to join you. Your allies actually get strength as you play through the game, of course, but they have goals that they need to obtain to get certain perks. Your territories are not safe though, as other people will try to take them over. If you lose all your territories, it's game over. And on a normal run, I've been able to capture China in about 50 moves, though I'm sure you can finish it much faster. I honestly didn't spend too much time on this one because the news of Dynasty Warriors 5 was put out not too long after this was released. One last note about Dynasty Warriors 4 Empires is that once you've beaten the campaign, that's it. Nothing is permanent. Once it's beaten, your only choice is to start over and try and do better, or try to get a different outcome. The Dynasty Warriors 4 series changed things up a bit, but not really stepping out of its comfort zone. Some fans considered this one a step back and believed that Dynasty Warriors was doomed to continue to go downward. But is it true? Find out next time on ZF500's Encyclopedia as we go over Dynasty Warriors 5, 5 Xtreme Legends, and 5 Empires. Till next time, guys, take care.
You want some more? Zhang Fei of Yan could drink and fight forever.